What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to another episode of Ben Builds with Joe and our 1/48 scale F8F-1 Bearcat. Today we're going to go ahead and finish off this awesome little kit, so let's go ahead and just jump right on in. Now last episode we overcoated everything with a gloss coat, so that is cured. We are ready for decals. And I've only built a few Hobby Boss kits in the past and I haven't really noticed their decals being all that difficult to use. Doesn't take much to go ahead and get those off the backing, just a little bit of warm water. Then I got my microsol, my microset. We should have these applied in no time. Also, luckily for me, there's not a lot of markings, just a couple of stars and bars. There's some unit markings, there's some stenciling, there's some lettering, some placards and whatnot. So I don't think we have all that many decals to go ahead and apply. So I'm hoping it should just go nice and smooth. So let's go ahead and jump into our very first time lapse. We're gonna have to cut all the decals out, figure out which ones we're going to be using, and then we'll start applying with our warm water, microset, microsol. And after that, we'll go ahead and hit it with a gloss coat and move on with the next phase. So let's go ahead and get this started, guys. Let's have some fun. All right, everybody, we are back, and that went really well, guys. Aside from my wheel falling off here, the decals are on perfectly. We have all of it nicely gloss coated, and that is cured, so everything is nicely sealed. We are looking ready for weathering. Now, in terms of weathering, most Bearcats were pretty clean, at least during their early operational life. So I have this panel line wash that is actually from Mig, and it is for dark sea blue. So I'm hoping that this will actually work. We're gonna go ahead and try this, come in here and fade and shade out some panels and maybe get a little bit of dirt and grime caught up into the different recesses and different panel lines. I don't know how well it's gonna work because this is already a very dark color and the wash looks very similar to the actual color, so I don't see how it's gonna do much. But again, it's at least going to go ahead and filter down and kind of shade out a couple of areas. So I'm hoping it's going to be all we need. Then I want to come in also and do a little bit of extra weathering. Want to do some scratch building. Want to get those landing gears installed. They do need a little bit of extra attention. And of course, I want to get the final assembly done, add the aerials, add a semi-gloss finish, and then we can call this one done. So let's go ahead and grab the Mig and AK panel liners. Let's get ready. Let's get this thing finished off. We'll be back with hopefully a finished Bearcat. Let's do it, guys. We are almost there. Alright everybody, so we are back, and we have finally finished our F8F-1 Bearcat by Hobby Boss in 1/48 scale. I am super happy with how this has turned out. I gotta say though, working with dark sea blue, not easy, but this MRP paint actually made it a little bit better, I think. Plus with the marbling coat and all the different colors, I think it actually worked very well. It's not perfect, mind you, but it's my first attempt at doing anything with dark sea blue, so let me go ahead and show you what we came up with. And here it is. This is a -1 Bearcat, all finished off with MRP sea blue. We've got some fine panel shading, we've done a little bit of marbling coats, and well, you know what? It's not half bad. It's a fun kit. It honestly went together very, very well, and I'm very happy with the results. Now, is it perfect? Well, no, it's not. There's a couple of little issues here and there that we'll talk about, but you know, for the most part, I've really enjoyed working on this kit, and I always love building along with Joe. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and let me show you some close-ups and talk a little bit about all the parts and pieces. All right, and as you can see from our close-up, this thing looks kind of cool. It's not perfect, mind you, but we do have a little bit of subtle panel shading here and there, so it's not just a solid sea blue color. On the decal side of things, as you can tell, we have a very large, kind of oversized Felix the Cat symbol, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but most everything else looks about right. Some of the stars and bars are a little off, I think, in terms of size, but for the most part, I think it looks okay. We did a little bit of weathering, of course. We used that Mig panel line wash. I'm sure there could have been other things I could have done, but I wanted to keep this as clean as I possibly could, because all my references, they showed a very clean looking Bearcat, so I didn't want to go too crazy with weathering. I did come in and add some of the whip aerials in the back here on the fuselage, and I did add some easy lines you can see right here. I think that was actually a really nice kind of step to take. It adds a bit more flavor, a bit more character to the aircraft, but yeah, they're very difficult to install. There are just really thin wires, to be honest. Now, the most fun I had with the kit is the wheelbase. I had so much fun coming in here, scratch building parts, adding in extra wires, doing a little bit of molding with milliput to make those ducts and all that. Honestly, a really, really fun time. I added a bit more interest in the landing gears by adding a couple of extra actuators, and I did some spiraling wire to act as a shock absorber on one of the struts, so it looks pretty good. We've got our disc in there as well for our brake rotor. It could have been extra shiny, should have come in with some alclad and hit it with some really nice looking metal paint, but I mean, it is what it is, it's fine. Now, the other area I really had a lot of fun with was the cockpit. Going in there and adding in extra details and adding in the seat belts and just adding in a lot of little extra bits and pieces. That was a lot of fun. I still think it was a really nice addition to go ahead and just spice things up a little bit, you know? And yeah, that's about it, guys. We are done. That sea blue color is so hard to work with. I need to go ahead and do a lot more dark sea blue aircraft so I can practice that a little bit, doing some panel shading and doing some of that marbling coat. Now, like I said, this kit isn't perfect, but I say if you want a Bearcat to look about right, go out, pick this one up. It's a really nice kit. It went together beautifully. The decals were okay. Not exactly perfect though. For example, I did have to add in some of these stencils here on the wing. Those weren't in the decal sheet. I had to pull them from my F9F8P Photo Cougar decal sheet that I had. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. If we go into the references that I have, we can see very clearly that there are some stencils right on top of the wing, and I believe it's right on top of the ammo bay door. Now you can see this on multiple images, as well as this one here. We have it on both wings, and that just didn't exist in the model kit itself. So I decided to go ahead and just pull it from some spare decals. Doesn't necessarily have the right wording, but it looks okay. Also, you can tell just how small and undersized the actual stars and bars are here on the model kit. They should actually extend a lot farther towards the middle of the wing. And lastly, we can look at that little Felix the Cat symbol. You can tell on the aircraft, it's very small, kind of up on top of the cowling. Here on the model, it's giant. And also, I don't believe it's the right color. On the actual references, it looks white, but then if we flip it over towards the later years, it actually turns a little bit almost like yellow or maybe like an off-white. So I don't know if that's exactly right here on the decals. But again, I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking, you know, to be honest. If you just want a Bearcat, throw them together and have something that looks cool on your shelf, this is a really good choice. I don't think there's any real big issues that would keep anyone from picking up one of these and having fun with it, because I had a blast. Yeah, I added some decals, and yeah, some things are not quite right. Some of the dimensions are a little off, but to be honest, it's still a fantastic kit. It went together beautifully, and you don't need to add all that extra detail in, but it's there if you want to, you know? So yeah, that is it, guys. We are finished with the Bearcat, and I'm so happy to finally have one in my display case. Now, of course, I know Joe finished up his Bearcat not too long ago, and he's been very patiently waiting for me to finish mine, so thank you, Joe, so much. Season 7 in the bag. It was so much fun. Now, I'm actually going to take a little bit of time off, though, from the bench. I've been kind of cranking out some builds over the last couple of weeks. I just finished off the Sea Fury, and I finally finished off the Bearcat, but I'm probably going to go ahead and pull back from the kits just a little bit, give myself some time to kind of catch my breath, kind of figure out what I want to build for the next kit. kit. So until our next episode, guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. And we'll see you back here on the next episode of Ben Builds with a brand new aircraft and some more fun to be had. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.